Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be placing a bent outdrive on the rear of the Outcast. We're going to be changing from the Arrma model to the M2C model. Not only does this upgrade the thickness of it, but it also shortens it by 1 millimeter. This shorter length helps to keep it from binding whenever you're landing from jumps, which may have been the reason for these bending. While we have it apart, we're also going to swap to the Vitavon aluminum rear hubs. Not only does it upgrade from the factory plastic ones, but it also upgrades the bearing sizes and moves to triple bearing design. So stay tuned. So to get started, we're going to need the following tools. We're going to need a ratchet with a 24 millimeter socket. We're going to need a 24 millimeter wrench. You're going to need a 3 millimeter hex drive. And then also have this 2 millimeter, but this size is optional. This is to get the pin out. We're also going to have our hubs and our outdrives. Also going to need some thread locker. I chose the orange as I've chosen the blue before and it's kind of backed out some. And then I also have a little bit of grease so I can lubricate these bearings when they first come out. Then I also have these calipers because I'm going to measure the thickness difference between the factory Arrma and the M2C. So let's go ahead and get down into it. First, we're going to take our wheel off. And now with our wheel off, we're going to take our 3 millimeter hex drive and our 24 millimeter wrench. And we're going to take out that inner grub screw. Now I'm going to take my 2 millimeter, I'm going to use it to get that pin out of there. Here we go. Move the hex. Also going to pull this screw out. Another 3 millimeter. And since I'm going to be replacing this part, I'm going to go ahead and remove this too. Okay, go and pull our outdrive out. 2 millimeter again, get this pin out of there. See, they got a little dirty during our last run. You can definitely see it's bent there. Let's get our M2C. Let's go ahead and measure the weight difference here. So with our factory one, it comes in weighing at 42 grams. And the M2C one comes in at 50 grams. As far as the thickness, .85, 6.89. Kind of varies as you go up and down the shaft there, as you can see. Factory one comes in at 5.58, 5.55. So a good bit slimmer. So let's go ahead and get our hubs out. So our factory one's a little dirty, but it shouldn't add that much weight, shouldn't affect it very much. So, factory one comes in at 84 grams. Just to make it fair, we're going to put this screw back in there. So our factory one comes in at 87, and the new one comes in at 142. So pretty significantly heavier. Again, this is only a dual bearing design. As you can see, there's only 2 bearings there. And on the Vitavon, we have 3. The factory outer bearings is 12 by 24 by 6 compared to the Vitavon 12 by 28 by 7. The factory inner bearings are 17 by 26 by 5 compared to the Vitavon 17 by 30 by 7. Vitavon also adds an additional outer bearing to help prevent the axle from bending. So the static load of a bearing is a load a bearing can withstand without deformation when the shaft is not moving. Landing a jump while on the throttle can damage drivetrain components, so we will use this measurement to determine how strong these bearings are. So the factory outer armor is listed to withstand a load of 320 foot-pounds, while the Vitavon bearing is listed to withstand 520 foot-pounds. The factory inner bearings are listed to withstand a static load of 385 foot-pounds, and the Vitavons can withstand 560 foot-pounds. This equates to a longer lasting bearing that can withstand more abuse without being damaged. So let's go ahead and swap these out. We'll take our factory axle, there we go. And to prevent wear, we're going to go ahead and clean this out and lubricate it up. Spin that around. The bearing's a little stiff as I expected. Put a couple drops. Not too much. We don't want to clean the grease out of these, as since these are off-road, we want the grease. But we do want to break them in a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna slide our hex over top here. We're gonna put our pin back in. Looks great. Now we're gonna see if we have any movement there. There's very little movement, if any at all, which is great because we won't have to worry about shimming this. So let's go ahead and pop it back in there. We're gonna worry about our grub screw at a later time. For now, we're just going to get it back in. I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bit of lubricant on this, just to help it slide in a little better. There we go. Hub came with a 2.5 millimeter screw, so we're going to take that one out. And we're going to keep the original setting we have, which is this very bottom here. So just for my own curiosity, I want to see the weight difference when there's only 2 bearings in each. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of these bearings out and we're going to weigh it again. Okay, so I've gone ahead and removed one of those bearings. 123. 87. So really, that's not that big of a difference considering we're upgrading to aluminum here. So I'm pretty happy with this. Go and put that bearing back in. Okay, so as you can see, we have our rear hubs and our axles replaced. Now we're going to put our tires back on. Okay, so just some helpful advice whenever you're getting ready to put the hex on. Go ahead and have your pin sideways so it stays in pretty easily. And then you can put your wrench over it just like that. And that ensures that your pin is in line. And then go ahead and put your grub screw in with the orange thread locker. Go ahead and tighten that down. There we go. Now I'm going to put a tire on. Now whenever you're tightening your tire down, it's best to go ahead and let gravity assist you. So go ahead and start up here at the top and then pull back towards you. There we go, it's nice and tight. Now before you call it a day, you want to go ahead and ensure that the drivetrain turns without any binding or issues. So turning this, you can see it turns perfect. There's no binding, everything is good to go. So with this, we've replaced the outdrive and the rear hub on the Outcast 8S. I hope this video is helpful for you. If so, please leave me a like or a comment below. And always, bash on!